This is the Spiderman first violin part, and I wanted to give you an overview of what to expect and what where I want you to really um, be concentrating as you're preparing this. It's a very difficult piece, so the most important part as far as um, the exposure within the orchestra, and also happens to be the hardest part to play, will be the top of the second page. And so from 65 there to those first, through those first four lines, it's really hard. So what needs to happen is you need to make sure that you know the intervals between the notes, that you're really secure in your left hand. You know where half steps are, where whole steps are, where extensions are, what positions you're in, how to cross over strings, just relationships from one note to the next. And intonation is really, really huge. The section is very lyrical, and it's also really hard to hear. So anyway, that's the part that I want you to be practicing. You know, as soon as you see this video, as soon as you watch the other video, try to really, really get this secure. It's one of those that you're gonna want to be practicing every day. You know, set aside a good 10-15 minutes every day just to really work it out until you have it. And so anyway, that's that part. The other part that's really worth discussing here is on the first page. You have all these 16th notes. So starting after 15, you should be able to play through measure 23 without much too much difficulty. But the next couple of measures are pretty hard. Just so you know, those aren't going to be the most exposed, so I don't want you to practice that at the expense of like that first passage I showed you on the other page. So I just want you to prioritize smartly. So those two measures, learn them slow, and just practice them a little bit each day slowly, and we'll see what happens. When we get up to tempo, it's going to go by so fast. I would like you to spend time though on the next line, and that's where it gets up high. It's not quite as hard, I don't think, but it's still hard and it's very high, and so it's really important that that part is in tune and that you're really good on those couple of measures. So I just, you can get carried away looking at the whole piece and looking at all these 16th notes, and so that's why I wanted to do this video, to just kind of to emphasize, like this, it should be doable, okay? And this right here is really important. Spend time here. Okay, these two measures are really hard, and you can practice them, but just make sure you're not spending more time there than some of these other places, because some things are going to get heard more than others when we get into the context of the whole orchestra. Down here at the bottom of the page, really hard. So what we're going to do from 39 is we're going to divide the part three ways within the first violin section. You're either going to take the first beat of each measure, the second beat of each measure, or the third beat of each measure. And you'll have to ask me to know which beat to be practicing. But once you know what role you're playing, then you start practicing it, and that we'll do it that way up until 49. When we get, and that part, by the way, I'm dividing it because it is really important, and it does need to sound really good, and it does need to be in tune. And so I thought this would be the best way so that we can make pull off this piece and have it actually sound really good, as opposed to sounding sloppy and out of tune. The bottom line goes pretty high up on the E string. It goes up an octave there, and so practice that with your shifts. Make sure it's really secure, and then that last bit, those 16th notes, you'll play all of those notes. So that last line, that's an important one. So I just kind of wanted to go through the video and highlight to you what's important, what's really important that you're practicing. The 16th notes at the end, they're not hard. Shouldn't give you much problem there. So I hope that helps as to kind of how to prioritize your time as you're practicing, and good luck on this piece.